catching up time, and I have a special treat for you today. We're coming to you from the Rove Hotel, downtown Dubai's podcast studio, and I have Mariana Missakian joining us, and you are going to, did I get that right?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. It's a highly produced podcast. So this is really fun because I'm on LinkedIn and I get a message from Toastmasters. Well, from Sarah, that's it. Yeah, so jog my memory. I'm thinking, what is this? I get a message from Sarah, and we're back and forth, like about, I don't know. I gotta go count the messages. It was an extraordinary number of messages. And
That's
like,
Sarah.
Yeah, she's like, oh, and she's like, I got someone you gotta meet. Would you like to do a podcast? I'm going, yeah. I was like, A, I like meeting people, and B, I love podcasting, so let's do it. And you've got this epic story because here you were climbing the corporate career ladder. Like, you've got the checkoff list. And we talked about this. McKinsey, IBM, Intel, Drake and Skull, Future
Pipe, FBI.
Yeah, KCAL, and the list goes on. Now you're an author. You're very happy in your skin. There was a middle ground where, okay, you got married, children, family, and all that's happening. Career, family stuff becomes challenging. And you navigated it. You found your way out. And as I was saying, I wonder if the title of this podcast shouldn't be Toastmasters Help Me Find My Voice.
Yes, I would go 100% because I wouldn't be here without Toastmasters. And I always say that my journey of self-discovery, my journey all started with Toastmasters. And the way I stumbled upon Toastmasters, that was the interesting part as well, because by that time I had spent weeks, maybe months, alone in my room with my 8 months son, not talking to anyone at the time, a full-time mom.
Oh no.
And then I found this book in the bookstore that says, never eat alone. And that's what I have been doing for months on end, just eating alone.
Eating alone, talking to your baby.
Yeah, taking the booze and the buzz and not in full sentences. Yeah. And then I opened the book, and then in the middle of the book it says, go to a Toastmasters club. And I had no idea what that was, but there it was, you know, the page I opened. So I go online, I check Toastmasters Dubai. It had to be next to my house. It had to be on a weekend because I have no nanny, no one to take care of the baby.
Box check.
So and the only club that I found was Be Bold for Change Club. And for my luck, it's an all-woman club that they meet at one of the members' houses. And I gave them my number, I sent them an email, and they reply back. They called me back actually, and they asked me, would you like to come and attend on Friday? I'm like, yes.
I'm there, I'm already on the doorstep.
There, you know, if there's someone willing to talk to me, I'm there, you know. So I go to the meeting with no expectation. I don't know what to expect. And then I go in and I find myself in Lorraine's house. And Lorraine is the founder of this chapter of the club. And she is so with open arms, she just hugs me, you know, at the days where we used to hug. She welcomes me, she tells me, come set up the room with me, have a snack, have coffee. And then she gives me a red capsicum, a green capsicum, and a yellow capsicum. And she tells me, fine, you're our timer today. And I'm like, what? What just happened? And this is how my journey started, because they had provided such a safe place, you know, where you would just stand up and talk and be yourself with no judgment, with no one there, you know, listening carefully to what you're gonna say next. It was just free to keep on talking. And the first thing I said is that, hello, my name is Mariana. I lost my voice. And I remember this clearly. I said, I have lost my voice for years. And I think this is where I'm gonna find my voice. And that was in 2018. And this is how my journey started, to finding my voice, to finding my stories and believing in them.
You started off when we're going to talk about finding your voice. We're going to talk about where this story led to and how your voice is now out there for the world, and more is happening. But you started off as climbing the corporate career ladder. That was
for 15 years.
15 years.
I came to Dubai. I was quite young, so I got married and came to Dubai when I was 18, and that's what you do.
That's the dream. That's the dream. You're 18-year-old in Dubai.
No plans to have a child because I was a child myself, you know.
Yeah.
So the plan is, as you do when you come to Dubai, is to work.
Yeah.
And you work. And I got very lucky and I got amazing jobs and I did very well with my jobs. And the better you do well, the more you start to believe that this is what you're meant to be. So you go for the next challenge, you go for the next job, you get the next award, you just
It's
keep
adrenaline,
on going.
right? It's
Just the rush, and
Yeah.
you never say no. You work the extra hours, you take the extra challenges, you see your face in the newspaper, you see your name in the
You were a
bottom of
corporate
a press.
superstar.
Oh my God!
you
I
got
was
the
on top of
clothes,
the
you're
world.
in the offices.
I got the clothes, I got the shoes, I got the house, I got the car, you know, I got the bag, I got the ring. And all this just before I was not even 30 when I had made it all.
You're like doing
know?
the happy dance.
Oh my God, I was on top of the world, you know. And then I said, fine, okay, so I've done it. I've ticked all the marks, like you said. I've done the corporate stuff. I traveled the world. I look good. I'm healthy. So I think it's now time to start a family, you know, because I worked so hard.
Yeah.
I worked for 15 years. I have a great name in the business. I have a great name in the industry. Wherever I go, people know me. So maybe I can afford to take a year or two off, you know, have a child, and then go back to the career world, you know, because I wanted to be a full-time mom as well. That's the problem.
It's hard.
It's hard because I know how hard I work. So I work 12 to 14 hours a day to build my career, and I knew that was not practical to raise a child while working 12 and 14 hours. And the way I wanted to raise my child, it wouldn't have been possible to work. So I said, okay, I'm going to be a full-time mom for a year or two, and then when I come back, I'll pick up from where I left.
And that didn't happen.
Oh no.
So when you went into your manager's office and said, look, I got to take time off to raise my child, what was the response?
Yeah. So let us just remember that this is not Hollywood, okay?
But it sounds like a Hollywood story. It's like you got the
It
Prada,
does.
you know.
That's why I was full of it, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I was killing it in Dubai, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, this might be my Hollywood story. And then when I'm gonna walk to my manager's office, like you said, I'm gonna say I'm gonna take a break. She's gonna say,
but
oh, of course, we are so supportive of you. You know, you do what you want to do and come back. Well, that's not what it turns around. You know, I was out of there faster than I got in, because those two worlds somehow don't meet very homogeneously.
Yeah.
So you have to choose. Or in my world at least, the world I was working in,
I
had
find
to
this
choose.
always so difficult to reconcile in my brain. So a career woman, everyone knows biologically you have to have the babies. and quite frankly, I don't want to go through that anyway. So I'm happy to leave that with you. But then when you go to the workplace and this biological function is going to at some point happen, even the people who are our managers who might be women don't seem to be very interested in this aspect of the workplace and the reality of the workplace. We're all treated the same, but it can't work the same.
So there's a very clear separation, you know, like if you cross that office door, you're an employee, you know, you're on the payroll.
You might use a different washroom, but we have unisex washrooms, so everyone's the same. Like, yeah, you're on the payroll, you're an employee. You're not Mariana.
No, you're not. You're not the mother. You know, well, at least where I was working, or at least in the industry, we can generalize it because.
Yeah, it's true. Some places do awesome. Let's not. We're not naming anywhere. Some places are really good.
But not me. You know, not in my movie, not in my story. I wasn't lucky enough to find an employee who would understand that I had a newborn child, or I would be having a newborn child, and I had to be present in my other side of my life as well. So that was it. A choice was made for me. A choice was made for me.
And that's kind of like a line in the sand, isn't it? It's not like pregnancy gradually happens over 9 months, and as you think about things, but then when you go to the workplace and you say, okay, look, I gotta make a change, and it's sort of like it's employee or mom. There's no in between, and if you can't be the employee, Well,
Yeah.
it's been nice knowing you.
Exactly. Bye-bye.
And that just happens like that.
See, James, I write in my book that when I started working in Dubai, I was quite young. I was 19 when I had my first job here. And I say at 19, before I had my UAE driving license and before I was legally allowed to drink, at age 19, it was obvious to me that I needed to plan my pregnancy. At 19,
Really?
when I am not allowed to take legal defining decisions in my life, I knew that I had to choose when I am supposed to have a baby, because it's not easy to build a career in Dubai, and you have to be focused.
Yeah.
And this was my first decision before my first job, because if I wanted to build a career, I knew that my family had to be on pause. And I did that. I played that game. I stopped having a family for 15 years, and after 15 years later, I said, okay, this is it. You know, I proved myself, and we come back there. It's like, no, it doesn't matter how long you wait. It doesn't matter how far you go, how much you prove yourself. The minute you become a mother,
And this becomes a real challenge too, right? So now you've got the baby, you're at home, you're going out, you're doing whatever, but your life in Dubai, your life anywhere has been defined by all of these accolades at work, all of the things, all of the go, 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 all of the success. Hey, you're doing a great job. Suddenly it's gone.
Yeah.
And you're mom.
Yeah.
And now you're defined as mom, and oh yeah, that was my other life. That's what you did, but now you're mom.
Yeah.
And you got to start looking forward.
Yeah. So the reality hits when you Google your name, and you find your name appearing on the 25th page. And no longer it's on Google page 1, So that's when it's like,
that must have, I mean, because you were, as you said, you were super successful.
Yeah, I was killing it, you know. And I did that maybe subconsciously, just Googling my name. Yeah. And when I found a few months later that my name was on the 25th page, it was, Mariana, those 15 years don't count anymore,
Man.
And this is when I started getting haunted by that question. What do you do? You know? Because in Dubai, you're defined by what do you do. Yeah. You come here to do. You come here with a job. You come here for a job. You come here change jobs and all that. And I dreaded that question, because what is it that I did? Before, if you would ask me, I would tell you, Google me. I would tell myself even the answers, like, Google me. Let Google tell you what I do, and all the things I did. But now I couldn't even tell you that because I was on page 25,
Google me, but go to page 25. You got to really scroll down.
So this is when reality hit me, and I'm like, really, what is it that I'm doing? I'm burping, I'm milking, I'm taking care, I'm changing diapers. What is it? What is my contribution?
Yeah. And everyone will say, oh, but being a mother is such an important job, and you're nurturing life, and then it is. I mean, it is. You're setting the groundwork for your child. When they're 25 years old and they're 18 years old, let's back up, they're 18 years old and they're embarking on their career, everything they're gonna do at 18 years old is gonna be traced back to what you did as a mom. But the value of that on a piece of paper.
No, it's like, where is my promotion? Where is my end year bonus? Where is my 5-star rating on Google? It's like me and another many million moms were doing the same thing, but because I was so addicted to the corporate life cycle, to the reward, to the promotions, to the gala dinners, to the high heels, and I really missed that. I thought that the switch would be easy, because I thought that in my 15-year career, I had done it all. So it would be easy to let go, knowing that I had done it all, I had got it all, I had achieved it all. I thought it would be easy to walk away and then do the same as a mother. So do it all, have it all, get it all. Yeah. But the switch was not easy, because it's not an on and off. Yeah. You still carry the adrenaline of working in the office. You still carry the adrenaline of walking in the office and everybody looking at you, oh my God, that the devil wears Prada moment. What is she gonna do today? But actually in my home, my son was doing that to me, because I was clueless and he was in charge rather than I was in charge. But I miss that. And the feeling of missing out, you know, they talk that a lot. That is the one that drained me. And on top of that, the Instagram world, right?
Oh.
Doing it all, having it all. She's a corporate mom, but she has the 6-pack, you know, and she drives the convertible 2-seater, and she has the 7-seater over the weekend. So it's like, how is she doing it all? How is she doing it all? Is it that I'm not good enough? What am I missing out on? What is it that I'm not doing wrong? And all these questions just start eating your brain.
Self-doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, and you start doubting, was this the right call for me? Did I do the right decision? Should I never become a mom, or should I have become a mother earlier than later, you know? And you start all these questions, and then this is how you end up not leaving the house for weeks and months, just so that you don't have to talk to someone.
As you sunk into this hole, how long how long were you in that hole of self-doubt before you made that call and ended up with the 3 capsicums?
3 years.
3 years.
3 to 4 years. I was in this hole for 3 to 4 years. I was alone. I couldn't speak to anyone, and that was the hardest part, because
self-confidence dries up.
And also, where is the community? First of all, the mothers that I knew were working and were killing it, you know, as working mothers. And my other friends were not mothers, were singles working it, and they were looking at me as like, what happened to you? You know, you're not the big boss we used to know. So I couldn't find anyone who would relate to me. And that was the hardest thing, because I thought it was just me. All me in this big world, you know, me, special Mariana. And then, you know, one day my therapist said, you're not that special.
It's like, rip the Band-Aid off. It's like, you're just really a normal person. Career mom. Now you got to re-identify yourself. Yeah.
And this is how it started. When I put myself out there, you know, when I took the first step to go and meet other women and have conversations and have this conversations and start talking about my stories and also hearing their stories. And this is where I thought, I'm not that special. I just have to trust myself a little more. I have to trust the process and be in the process instead of being alone in the house, avoiding the world.
So as you went through that whole process and you come out the other end, thank you, the therapist, who ripped off the band and said, you know, you're not that special. But you found your voice essentially through Toastmasters.
Yes.
And that led to you investing an incredible amount of time to really, in an interesting way, document this world that you live in through a series of short stories. It's your first book.
I don't know how it started, you know, when I became a full-time mom. So up to that point, I was living in the city center, which I call it downtown in my book. So I lived there for around 20 years. And then I moved to suburbia. So this is what I call the suburbs. So I call it in my book suburbia. And I say that suburbia is where full-time mothers move. Because now that I am a mother, I had to move to suburbia and to be with the mothers that are like me, you know, because in downtown you don't find full-time moms. And when I moved to suburbia, it felt so alien to me. It felt like a whole different country. Somewhere I haven't been before, somewhere I didn't even know existed in Dubai before, you know, all of these mass full-time moms communities in latex, you know, yoga mornings, coffee afternoon. And I'm like, oh my God, where am I? Where am I? What happened to me? How did I end up here? And then I started taking notes, you know, I started taking notes because it's something funny you hear or a feeling I have is like, what the hell am I doing here? What kind of conversations these women are having? And I still try to impose my downtown me to suburbia, you know, it's like, no, did you hear the last headlines in Financial Times? Or did you see what happened to that ticker on the NASDAQ, you know, or did you hear about the glass ceiling? And I think they were looking at me as like, what the hell is wrong with this woman? Who is she?
And you're taking notes, you're going, when did it dawn on you as you were starting to take these notes and you're starting to put this all together that there are stories here that need to be told, and they are not only going to be entertaining, but they also might form a bit of a bridge to help people like yourself who've been through this ringer, which is, I hate to say it, I think it's probably pretty much every woman who has children and has got a career, which is them all, to figure out, hey, life isn't over.
Yeah.
It's just, it changes.
It changes. It's seasonal.
Yeah.
I talk about it in my book. It's seasonal. So life happens in seasons. The first story I ever wrote was the story of me going to a Lululemon shop to buy my latex leggings. So that was my first welcome present to suburbia, because obviously everybody was in latex leggings. Everybody was going to yoga mornings.
Yeah, it's spandex line.
And you have to fit in.
So these are Lululemon shorts,
exactly.
just so you know.
Oh, good for you.
It's a stylish, aren't they?
I've never been to a Lululemon shop before. I don't know how it looks like. I don't know what the process is.
Suburban mom, don't they give you, when you move to the suburbs, don't they give you a voucher? It's like, the Lululemon's over there, go get yourself kitted out in the uniform.
So you did read my book. Yeah, they do give you. They give you a welcome mat, they gave you a coffee voucher and a Lululemon voucher. So I went to Lululemon. I had to get my yoga pants, and the experience was just, oh my God, what is happening to me, Because it was a ritual. The salesperson in the shop made it as a ritual, as if I am buying, I don't know, the cape of...
It's your new life. It's your identity becomes the Lululemon uniform.
Yes. And I came back home and I was like, I need to write a story. I need to tell the story, because nobody will believe me. If I tell them the story, if I go to downtown Debbie, as I call her in my book, if I go and tell her what happens in suburbia, she's not going to believe me. So I better start writing the stories. And this is how I started story after story. And at that point, I didn't have a book in mind, because my transformation was not complete at the point. I was still living in the dilemma.
This was part of the transformation, right? This is as I'm thinking about this whole process, this is the bridge. You're on the bridge trying to figure out, do I go back to the downtown? Do I and these stories all start to become, it's like you've got them in each hand. And I just imagine you on this bridge. Maybe it's even like a tightrope, and you're walking it and you kind of go, oh yeah, no, I'm going to go back a little bit, and then I'm going to go forward a little bit, until you kind of realize, like, you know what? Like the therapist said, not special in the way you're thinking, but special in a different way. And the special is defined by you, not defined by the manager in the C-suite who said,
by a title, by a parking spot. And now that you're saying this, it comes to my mind that the role that Toastmasters played in this, because Toastmasters has a curriculum. So they tell you the first speech is going to be about this, and then you move on to the next speech, and you move on to the third speech. So they give you the topic and the objective. And I think the road I took, going from one speech to another, preparing the first speech and then the second speech, that was the roadmap I took also to fill in the other gaps of my identity. And that helped me in the process as well. It made it easier, I would say, because the program in Toastmasters is called Pathways. So it's by definition, it's a path, and you choose your way on this path. And the way I did it, and I talk about this a lot, is that I didn't stand up and talk about my cat or my dog during the speeches. I didn't talk about impersonal stuff. I didn't talk about the weather. I used every speech as an opportunity to pour my heart out, to talk about my pains, to talk about my dreams, to talk about why I'm here and what I'm asking the world to do, and why I'm asking the world to save me. And every speech made it easier for me to like myself a little bit more, to trust myself a little bit more, and then the transformation to be complete.
When you wrote these stories, and at what point did you say to yourself, there's something here? And you had the first story, and then I'm going to write some more, and then to the point where you started to say, I've got a lot more. And you wrote an awful lot. Like, this is an extraordinary number of hours invested, an extraordinary number of words, of which only like a third are in your book.
I wrote 100,000 words, and only 36,000 ended up in the book. The minute I knew that I was onto something, it was when I finished writing the first 5,000 words. by that time, 5,000 words is around 7 to 8 stories. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do about this? And
were you sharing, I want to interrupt, were you sharing the stories at this point with people?
Well, that's very interesting as well, because I did share 1 or 2 stories, and the feedback I got, who wants to hear about this?
Wrong audience. We'll move to another group of people.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't think you're the person I need to talk to. But that didn't stop me, you know. And obviously, I was also pitching to magazines if they want to publish my essays and my story. Of course, I got rejection after rejection.
It's humbling, isn't it? I mean, you're coming out of this state. You're happy with your stories, and then you get people who just don't get it, and then you get editors who clearly don't get it, because I mean, who knows what the criteria is?
Well, they want happy, they want filters, they want me to talk about my 6-pack, you know, which I don't talk about any of that, but I talk about the challenges. I talk about how hard it is to be a mom.
I didn't have a 6-pack when I was 18. I'm not going to have a 6-pack now.
Oh my God. So yeah, but every rejection I got, James, it just empowered me.
Okay.
Because you know what, you're onto something now, and the fact that people are not comfortable with what you're saying, it only proves that you have something worthwhile to say. You know.
Just need to find the audience.
You know, and I'm like, okay, so I wrote my first 5,000 books. So I Google, what's the shortest book that I can publish?
Set the bar. You need a bar. Very good.
So I need to be realistic here, you know. And Google tells me I need 40,000 words. So I'm like, okay, I did 5,000. I can do the rest, 35,000. And then I say, okay, so I need a plan here.
So you're already 7 stories in. And now you're deciding, okay, I need a plan.
Yeah, I need a plan. I need a plan. So how am I gonna write the rest of the stories? How am I gonna go about it? Where does the story end? Where does the story begin? And I was thinking about it the other day because, you know, you get the writer's block.
Yeah. Did you get writer's block?
Oh, all the time.
What'd you do?
I put my pen down and I just went out again. I started living again, you know, because when you write, I wrote 6 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Where's the baby? Where's the baby at all this point?
He's at school. So from drop to pick up. Yeah. That's my writing time.
And I just want to pause for a second, because this is the other fallacy that happens in people's lives. Children start going to school, so you know they're 3, 4, whatever. I don't know what age you decide, whether it's preschool or school. We can go in that. It doesn't matter. But it's like, child's going to go to school, and I can go back to work. It's like, you can't. I mean, you can, but I've been in that world. At least I'm a university professor, so finishing at 3 o'clock to go and pick up my boys, which I did from as soon as they were in school till they graduated high school. I could do that, but I was a rarity because work doesn't end at 3 o'clock. And it's the life. It's so hard to then jump back into that life.
It is. I mean, the phones don't stop, the emails don't stop, deadlines don't stop, because you have drop off and pick up, and also the switch of mind. You know, how can you switch from your office back to your family just after pickup? I have a nice story here, actually. You know, the first few years when I became a full-time mom, I was still trying to find a job.
I like that you've classified yourself. I'm a full-time mom. Yeah, okay, keep going. You own it as a badge. I'm a full-time mom. It's like,
with pride now.
Yeah.
You know? So obviously, I also did my master's, because I thought that was part of the plan. You know, when I did my master's in leadership, that's another tick on my maternity break, and you know, the employees are gonna appreciate that. You know, not. So I started looking for a job, and then I found this company. And they were all pro-women, you know. Nice. Even the HR was so proud to say we have, what did they call it? Women Empowerment Department Division, something with a head, you know. Nice. And I'm like, yes, change.
I'm
this
home.
is it.
This
I'm
is it.
all the way. And before we go into the interview process, I'm like, I'm a mom first. So that means that I can work part-time, or I can work flexible hours with less travel, you know. She's like, don't worry, we're cool. We have this women empowerment department within our company. I'm like, yes. So the interview process takes around 4 to 5 months. It
All
was
right.
very long.
Yeah.
The contract comes in. The job offer comes in, and you have to travel 4 days a week, work 12 hours a day. And I'm like, hello, what happened to flexible? It's like, yeah, we're very flexible. We can let you go pick up your son during your lunch break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, ain't gonna happen. It's like, so you're flexible, but I gotta fit the corporate model. All right.
Yeah.
All talk, no application.
No, not in the real world. So not on paper. So.
So
yeah.
you were writing, and then you figured 40,000 words, and you were writing between the drop off and pickup,
Yeah.
so that when your child came home, it's your mom.
I'm a mom. Yeah, I was fully a mom, so I could do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I could be the mom I wanted to be without having that ticking clock in the back of my mind that I need to stop in half an hour. I didn't want to be that kind of mom, you know. And that goes. It's very important as a woman.
I love that word. You were the mom you wanted to be.
Yes, this is extremely important. I was the mom I wanted to be, because being a mom for me is completely different than being a mom for the other mom and the other mom. So because I knew what kind of a mom I wanted to be, and I knew the compromises that I wasn't willing to make. But that came quite late in the game.
Oh no!
That came 4 hours later, because 4 years later.
4 years later.
Because see, the thing is, okay, I want to be a full-time mom. I want to be a full-time mom. That's what I want to do. But then, you know, you had those doubts. You didn't
still got to
have
reconcile. You're still on the bridge, holding
Yes.
holding the things.
And then slowly by slowly, I became to know that I am the mom I always wanted to be, because I am upholding my values. I am upholding what makes my family, what makes me, what I want to give to my son. And that was a decision only I could make after I made peace with my values and what kind of compromises I am willing to make. You know that book, the FCUK book? Yeah, so that book, on the first page of that book gave me one of the aha moments. That book says, what pains are you willing to take for the reward? And that was, yes. Yes. I am personally not willing to take the pain of a boss. I am personally not willing to take the pain of a 9-to-6 job. But I am willing, I am the kind of person, I am the kind of mom who I'm willing the pain to play with my son, you know, staying in latex the whole day, you know, staying in Birkenstock the whole day. But it had to come to me.
Birkenstocks on?
No. But it had to come to me slowly, progressively, because it's not a switch. It's not an and off switch. Yesterday I was a corporate and today I'm a full-time mom. It doesn't happen this way. And you've
got to embrace it too. And until you fully 100% value that decision and all of the things that are going to go with it. I mean, you're an author. You're an author. And I mean, how many, we're right here, downtown Dubai. We're looking onto the Burj Khalifa. I mean, it's behind the curtains, but it's there. I guarantee you it's there. There are 1,000 or more corporates in those towers. They're on the mill. They're on the treadmill. They're just, you know, they're just, feed me, give me another donut, right? How many of those people, how many of those thousands are picking up a Kindle, are going to the bookstore and grabbing something at Kunikinia? All of them. Yeah. But how many of them are writing those books? 5? None? You know what I mean? Because, but you're that person.
I am, and I'm very happy to be, because I did. This is what Toastmasters did, and this is what the whole process did, is that I believed in my voice. And I believe that these stories should be told. You know what they say is that if you are out there looking for a book to read and you can't find it. I couldn't find a book that had these stories in them.
So you wrote the book you wanted to read?
I wrote the book I wanted to read. And I want women to read so that they know they're not alone. I was writing an article the other day, and I mentioned in it is that, do you know the name Marco Polo? You know, when it's a game, you know, kids play. Marco Polo. I used to play it with my friends all the time. So I said, when I was going through all this, I was yelling Marco, you know, but no one was yelling Polo back, because it was shh. let's not talk about this. But now that I wrote this book is my Marco. You know, this book, I am telling everyone, I'm standing in the middle of the room and I'm yelling, Marco, come and find me. You are not alone. Because that's what I wanted to say. You are not alone. You are not that special. The way my therapist told me you're not special. We are more. We are so many more. And we shouldn't cry alone on the bathroom floor like I did.
When you talked about the rejection letters and you're working on this and you're trying to find that out, when did things start to click with the stories and people start yelling back, Polo, Polo, to your Marco?
So that was in 2020, actually, in the lockdown. So I had written the big chunk of it in 2019. And in 2020, I started sharing my stories as form of speeches in Toastmasters and sharing them in front of as form as essays and all that, and people started relating, like echoing to those stories and actually feeling the pain behind it and feeling the gradual change behind it. And they were just amazing. This new community that I found, you know, my Suburbia community, my Toastmasters community, they were just an amazing force. I couldn't have done this without them because they believed that I needed to put my stories out there, and they believed that I needed to do this for my healing as well, but also for the Marco Polo event, because they knew there were so many out there that wanted to hear these stories.
It must be incredible when you're sharing the stories, whether you're speaking them, whether people are reading them, and they come up to you and they go, I totally can relate.
Yeah.
I see myself in that story.
That's the most amazing part, especially after I published the book. The comments I'm getting from the readers, they just give me a goosebumps, you know, and tears come falling down, because that's exactly what they say. They say, you said it the way that I was feeling it. Yeah. You said the words that I couldn't say. I went through that exact same thing. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for showing me I'm not alone, you know? Yeah. And that's just...
gives you goosebumps, doesn't it?
Yeah. All those, I say, all those days, all those nights crying and doubting myself, it makes it all worth it. Because if I hadn't gone through that, I wouldn't be here today. You know, I wouldn't have the confidence to share my stories. And I want my stories, you know, some of them tell me you're so brave to share, because
we don't open up our jackets, right? We pull on, we go out into that world, we've got our kids and we do our stuff, and you put on, you know, you got spandex on, but hey, you also got to put on a sweater and a thing, and we're going to put on a hat and just on the screen where no one's going to see the real us.
No.
And you pull back the curtain,
yeah.
And you're saying, yeah, that was me on the bathroom floor.
Yeah. I don't leave anything, because I decided if I wanted to do this, I wanted to do it all. Yeah. It had to be done the right way, nothing holding back. Because if I was gonna hold back anything, then what was the point of telling the story? I would be me on an Instagram filter. So I don't do filters. I just say it the way it is. You might find it raw, you might find it brave, but I say it, it's my truth. This is the way. This is what I lived, this is what I went through. And I want to tell you exactly what I went through, so you don't feel that it's too hard for you. No, it was too hard for me as well. And I have no inhibitions. You know, I have nothing to hide. And that was really hard. You know, I finished the book end of September. And my friends kept on calling me and telling me, why aren't you publishing it yet? Why isn't the book out there? And I'm like, you know what that means? The minute I publish the book, I'm open. All my scars, all my heart, all the bleedings is out there for people. They will see every single scar I have. So I can't just hit publish. I need to sit a minute with myself and just be really okay with this, because it's done. Once you hit publish, your friends, your family, strangers are gonna look right and see you right through you. So I'm like, just give me a minute, you know, let me savor this and how huge that publish button will be for me. And it took me a week. Okay. And it took me a whole week to say, fine, Mariana, you've done it. You know, you wrote this for 2.5 years. You went through all that. And you did it so that you share it. You tell people, you can do it. You can press on that button. You can publish that book.
How do people find the book? Where do we go?
Amazon.com. It's both in paperback and also on Kindle.
Give us a title.
It's called That Suburbia Lady.
That Suburbia Lady.
Of course.
Yeah. And we're sitting here in Dubai. Readers in Dubai, this is really going to resonate with them, isn't it?
Yeah. So the book is all, it mirrors Dubai. Because as you said, I came here very young, and where I am today and what I did today and my family, I couldn't have done it without Dubai. So I start the book by resonating, by mirroring my success to the success of Dubai. So I start in 1998 when I landed in Dubai, how Dubai was. The Burj Al Arab was getting built slowly. And then I moved back 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So I'm showing this hand-in-hand growth of Dubai, the city, and Dubai, the people and the population. And then when I moved to suburbia and I start showing this contrast, because I feel that I left the city of Dubai and I moved to suburbia, and now suburbia I was shrinking when Dubai, the city, was growing, you know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the book is my story. So the story of a corporate boss lady who moved to suburbia and lost herself and couldn't find herself. But if you read the book, the 40 stories that are in the book, it's about transformation. Yeah. It's about someone, a woman, a mother, single, married, it doesn't matter. But she is at a transformation stage in her life. She knows that she needs to do more things, but she doesn't know what. Right. She knows that she's supposed to be someone else, someone bigger. She knows that she is supposed to have a bigger impact, but she doesn't know where. Because as you said, she's stuck on that treadmill, like I was. You know, I was stuck in the rat race. On the rat race, in the corporate rat race, they don't give you a chance to stop, to pause, to say why. Why am I doing this? You know, because it's deadline after deadline, it's promotion after promotion, it's a bigger bag, it's a more expensive shoes, it's a first-class ticket, it's a 5-star hotel stay, you know? So they don't give you a chance to stop and to ask why. So this book, hopefully the stories in this book, like they allowed me to pause and ask the questions, why? Why am I doing this? What is really success to me? You know, is it success to me a house, a car, or what? Let me define success. What is happy to me, you know? So, but of course the book is written in a satire way. It's not a self-help book, not at all. So the book is 40 stories, because that's the year I turned 40, by the way. So I decided I'm gonna do 40 stories, one story for each month until December I turned 40 years old. And these are satire, sarcastic, funny stories that show you how to ask those questions and how I ask those questions, and I ended up finding the answers, the right answers.
What's next? You got another book up your sleeve?
Oh, always, you know, I already started taking. I never stop taking notes. You know, my phone is part, I think I take more notes on my phone than I talk on my phone. You know, my phone, I already have 695 notes on my phone, and every note is a story.
Okay.
And every note can be a book, you know. But now I just want to spend time having conversations, talking to women, reaching out to mothers, asking the right questions, let them know that they're not alone. And I'm not in a hurry, you know, at all, you know, where it's not what's next, what's the big thing. I'm not in a hurry. It took me 3 years to write this book. It took me 8 years to be who I am today. So I'm not in a hurry at all. I have the time of the world to have as many conversations as I can, and I would love to. So if it takes 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, let it be. But I just want to have conversations and connect with as many women and mothers as I can.
What's the best way for people to connect with you?
On Instagram. After 3 years hiatus, I'm back on Instagram. So it's Mariana.Missakian, and I'm also on LinkedIn as well. So I write a lot of articles on LinkedIn as well.
Excellent. So I'll post all of those into our description so people can find you. This has been so much fun.
Thank you. It has.
I mean, I really look forward to what's coming next, and I'm going on to Amazon. I'm downloading this. I can't wait to read this.
Yeah, thank you. Let me know what you think.